Welcome to Little More. I'm your host, Stella Littlemore, mindset coach, lifelong student of personal growth, and someone who's here to challenge, support, and remind you just how capable you really are. This podcast is all about ditching self-doubt, building unshakable confidence, and stepping into that version of yourself, the one who actually believes she can have it all. You can expect real talk, a little tough love, and the occasional existential crisis because, let's be real, growth isn't always glamorous. But here's the truth. You are worthy of more, and together, we're going to make sure it happens. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Little More. I have a new setup and I've realized now that I'm recording that it sounds a little bit echoey. So I'm praying that I can fix that in the audio because this, being a mum, not really a mum, but like step mummy, it means that the time that I have to record is so much less than when you're not a mum. But I mean, we all know that that's my life goal and I love kids. And so it's about time I suck it up. No, but in all seriousness, I am really trying to work with what I've got. If you're watching on YouTube or you're watching the video, because we started uploading videos on Spotify as well, then you would see that I've got a new setup and we're just going to pray that the echoing is not that bad. Also, I'm in the process of getting a stand for my microphone because silly old me decided to chuck out this part for this microphone when I was moving from Dubai to Australia. Turns out you need that little metal part that looked like pointless metal for the stand. So I'm in the process of contacting Rode. They're in the process of shipping me that part because you can't actually buy it anywhere online. You have to contact them, give them proof that you bought the microphone, and then tell them why you don't have the part, and then they'll send you a new one, hopefully, fingers crossed. But anyway, blah blah blah, boring. I don't know if I should start bringing back my weekly sort of catch-ups in terms of the best thing that happened to me, the worst thing that happened to me, and my new perspective. I reckon we're going to do that. I'm kind of just winging it as I go. The best part of this week has probably been I've recognized that I've gotten a little bit complacent in my life. I've gotten a little bit comfortable with just hanging out with my family and my boyfriend and the kids. And while that is all really lovely, it is really important that you have your own life outside of that and that you prioritize your friendships and you surround yourself with people that expand you. And not that my family don't expand me, you just need people outside of that, right? Well, I have been trying to make a conscious effort of, making time for girlfriends, doing dinners, going for little hot girl walks and doing those things. So I'd say that's been the best part of my week. Went for coffee with a girlfriend. We were talking about business, talking about mindset, just like all the good things. And it really reminded me how important it is to have, those connections and friendships that are aligned outside of your family and your boyfriend. And yeah, so that was really lovely. We talking about collaborating on a few things. We'll have to bring this to you girls, and I put a little expression of interest on my Instagram, but we want to do like a little collab because she does Pilates and I love Pilates through and through, like being a Pilates gal for a long time. And she does little pop-up Pilates classes. And so I was like, oh my God, like imagine if you could intertwine mindset and Pilates and do like little pop-up class that's both, because that does not exist. So we're in the works of kind of figuring out what that looks like and how we would facilitate that. But it was really cool to just like, get the creative conversation going and bounce cool ideas and just be in your feminine. That's kind of what we're talking about today. Being in your feminine, getting princess treatment, all of that. Before we jump into that, the worst part of this week is feeling triggered. And this is something I talk about all the time. And in healing triggers, you might heal it. And then when you reach a new level, come new devils, and you might experience that trigger again and have to navigate that again. And that is exactly what I've been doing this week. Really, yeah. I'm not going to go too much into that trigger, but I had something happen, got really triggered, noticed a lot of emotions, a lot of old beliefs that I kind of thought that I'd worked through come back up, and I really had to practice what I preach in looking at those triggers as opportunities, not negative things, and leaning into them more and seeing it as the opportunity that it is to further heal something that needs attention and care and love. So I've been doing and leaning a lot more into that and trying to give myself what I deserve and working through that and healing. And yeah, that's hard. So I would say, yeah, that was the worst part, is getting triggered. And my new perspective on that is really practicing what I preach and looking at it as an opportunity rather than a negative thing, because that's ultimately what it is. Something interesting is we have 7 seconds of being unregulated, reactive, having the emotions without any control. 7 seconds after being triggered is what you should allow yourself to let those emotions kind of run wild and get the best of you. After that, it's a decision. So after 7 seconds of whatever the fuck's going on in your head, you are then deciding to stay in that triggered state. You're deciding to be upset and to affirm those beliefs to yourself. You have to cut the shit and get out of that and do the work to work through that and heal and grow. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stuck. Anyway, rant over. Just thought I would share that. Today, we're talking about princess treatment. It's one of my favorite things. It's something that I think every single girl talks about and dreams for, is being treated like a princess. And I kind of want to break down a few things. I've got my notes up and everything. We're taking this professionally. So I'm going to be reading off my phone a little bit. If you're watching, you'll see that. If not, you're probably not even going to notice. We're going to go over self-worth before receiving, feminine energy versus survival mode, why women settle, my personal experience with all of this, how to step into the energy that attracts princess treatment, and why it's not just about men and it's actually about you. And the kind of princess treatment that I want to talk about is the kind where he buys you flowers without you asking, where he plans dates and he tells you be ready by 6, where he holds space for you emotionally, and where he ultimately leads with intention. But the truth is that does not come from waiting, sitting around and being like, oh, it'll just come to me. No, girl. It comes from becoming the kind of energy that is worth showing up for and the kind of energy that just attracts that. So what is princess treatment? It's about being emotionally safe, feeling seen and feeling celebrated. It's thoughtfulness, effort, intention, consistency. It is all about a healed masculine creating space for your feminine to relax. Examples of this is flowers without asking, doors being open for you, conversations that feel emotionally safe, feeling led versus control, because there's a big difference. And not having to earn affection. Now, I have experienced the princess treatment that as a society we've been conditioned to see as princess treatment in terms of the materialistic side, whether that's designer bags or massive bouquets of flowers and all of that stuff. But I've really come to learn, and I've learned this a few times, as I said, with new levels come new devils. It's not about the materialistic things, and it's more so, well, I know, and I know speaking from clients, that putting emphasis on how you feel, that is the real princess treatment, because there is no point having all the materialistic things if you feel like shit on the inside and you don't feel safe and you don't feel seen and you don't feel understood and you don't feel calm in your nervous system. That's what's important. You have to give the princess treatment to yourself first. So I want to talk about when I was in my masculine and my experience with this, because I was so heavily in survival mode that I didn't even realize how far I had strayed from being in my feminine. I honestly thought that being strong meant holding and carrying it all. I really almost settled for this. I'm talking boulder on my finger, settled for it. I almost married a man who was in his feminine and I was massively in my masculine, not because I wanted to, but because I was in survival mode. There's definitely a healthy balance between masculine and feminine that both females and males will fluctuate between. So for example, me being a business owner, coaching women, podcast, like I'm in my masculine right now. I'm leading you girls. I am teaching you and being in my masculine in my business. And that's definitely really important, because if I was just in my feminine and I sat back and I received and I just did all the creative thinking and drawing and like there would be no business, simply put. But to be in your masculine constantly is not healthy. And I was in a relationship where I was massively in my masculine. I was in survival mode constantly. My nervous system was in overdrive. I was stressed. I was anxious. I was leading everything in my life. Now, this is going to be controversial as fuck, but I was literally in a relationship with someone who was so in their feminine that they were okay with me doing OnlyFans. This wasn't out of empowerment, but out of complacency. I understand that this is, as I said, a very controversial topic in terms of OnlyFans and letting boyfriends or having boyfriends that allow you to do it or feel comfortable to do it. Now, as I've grown and as I've evolved and explored other avenues in my life, I now see how harmful this relationship was to my nervous system and me and where I wanted to be in life. But it's also, this is like a whole can of worms that we could go into, but I really feel like it's damaging to our society in terms of men as well, and putting them in their feminine energy that's, in my eyes, just simply fucked up. Anyway, circling back to the relationship, like that to me is not love. That is a man who lacked a backbone, that lacked leadership, that lacked direction, all while I was abandoning myself just trying to survive. That period in my life, I was very unhappy. I was, being pushed past my boundaries, pushed past my values, I wasn't being pushed. I was allowing myself to be pushed. Like, yes, there are people that disrespected me massively in that area in that time of my life, but I also am, at the end of the day, only be accountable for my own actions. And the fact that I allowed myself to be in that environment and that state for as long as I did is, something I can't sit here and put the blame on them. Like, I ultimately made that decision and I should have walked away sooner, but alas, here we are. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. I just want to say, like, when you value yourself, you stop auditioning for men to treat you well. I want to say that again. When you value yourself, you stop auditioning for men to treat you well. You become a mirror for how you expect to be treated, okay? It starts with you. You have to treat yourself the same way that you want to be treated. Spending that quality time with yourself, doing your skincare, having a movie night with yourself, taking yourself out on dates, going for coffee with yourself, going for a walk, cleaning your house, dressing well for you, looking after yourself, doing your hair, doing your makeup, looking presentable, investing in your growth, emotional regulation, like internal princess energy is how you're going to attract it. How do us women actually lose ourselves in survival? The reason that so many women are in an unhealthy balance of masculine energy or stuck in that masculine energy generally is going to come down to trauma, fear of being too much, being conditioned to be low maintenance, fear of abandonment, being praised for how much they can carry. Let me just tell you, you cannot be in your receiving feminine energy when you're stuck in the energy of proving, okay? Men cannot step up if you're already doing everything. If you're already providing. Like, if I look back at that relationship, I sat there and fucking complained about him not helping out and doing his own washing and supporting me. But when you look around, like, his mum was doing all his washing for him. I was doing all his washing. I did all the cleaning. I brought in the money. I paid for our accommodation. I paid for our flights. I paid for your certificates. I paid for fucking everything. Where was the will or the drive to do anything when everything was being done for him already? Like, I don't know what I fucking expected. You look around, and that's why it's so important to look at a boy and look at their relationship with their mum, because if you've got a mummy's boy that mummy does everything, then he's likely in his feminine because he's receiving from her constantly, and the mum's in the masculine. Anyways, I feel like I'm being very controversial in this episode, but alas. The misconceptions surrounding princess treatment, okay? No, princess treatment does not make you weak, okay? It doesn't make you entitled for wanting more, and it's not anti-feminist. So I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I want to be treated like a princess because I treat myself like a princess, and therefore, surprise, surprise, I'm in a relationship with somebody that treats me like a literal princess. This is not about making a man your savior, girls, okay? It's about attracting a healed masculine because you are in your healed feminine. It's about balance, okay? It really is. And as I said before, we're all going to fluctuate between feminine and masculine energy. It's needed in pretty much everyone's lives. Like, if you work, if you're got a business, like you're going to be in your masculine. And then in a relationship, I really hope and I pray and I hope that you learn from this episode that you want to be in your feminine. You want to feel safe to be in your feminine, not stuck in a masculine energy. I remember in high school, like just wanting to be the chill girl, wanting to be okay with my boyfriend going out and partying and getting with girls and flirting with them. Like, it's chill, it's fine. No, it's not fucking chill. Okay, chill gets you breadcrumbs. Having standards and upholding your own standards within yourself is what's going to get you cherished. How you're going to start receiving the princess treatment that we all love and want. A few steps. First of all, you're going to audit your energy, okay? Are you giving? Are you proving? Are you fixing? Are you overperforming? You want to embrace receiving and being in an energy where you're okay with being misunderstood, because feminine energy doesn't prove. Prioritize you, your pleasure, and your peace. This can be skincare, music, walks, beauty, getting dressed nice, like allowing yourself to be in your creativity and just embracing the things that give you peace. Upgrading your environment. So what do you tolerate around you? Okay, what you tolerate around you is what you're inviting in. So I'm sorry, but you need to get sharp on your boundaries, because if you're not, the only people that are going to be upset by this are the people that are benefiting from your lack of boundaries. And in asserting your boundaries, you're now going to invite somebody in that respects your boundaries, and that is how we get princess treatment. Set clear standards, work on your self-talk, so affirmations. I'm going to put in a little free PDF in the show notes. It's just going to be a bit of a checklist and some affirmations that you girls can say to yourself to attract that healed masculine and the princess treatment that we want. Date from your worth, not your wounds. Let men show you who they are. Listen to them when they show you who they are, and don't settle for somebody that's not aligned with you. Princess treatment isn't a request, okay, girls? It's a reflection of your energy. And when you treat yourself like you matter, you attract people who do the same. I also want to say, if you've been in relationships where you have settled or you've felt unseen, you've been massively in your masculine, then I want to suggest reclaiming her. Now, obviously, I'm going to be biased because I've made this program. I fucking love this program. I've done this program twice, and it's something that I'm a big advocate for. But this is a really great program because it's going to teach you how to heal. It's going to help you to trust yourself again, to raise your standards and to stop accepting the bare minimum. And I think that if you've come from a place or a relationship where you've lost yourself, you've lost your spark, you've lost your sense of self, you've lost your worth, then the Reclaiming Her program is a really great place for you to start and to rebuild yourself and to heal and to grow and to break free from the pain that's holding you back. That is all for today's episode. I hope you girls enjoyed. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new episodes and rate the podcast if you're enjoying. Send me a DM, share with your friends. I love to hear from you girls, and honestly, it just like warms my heart, and I can't even tell you how much it means to hear your feedback and hear you girls listening to the episodes. It just means the world to me. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you in next week's episode. Love you so much. Bye.